21 weeks of being on air with this man, and each week just keeps getting better. Episode 22 of Business and Leadership Stories, and Sachin Mandari from the Story Co. is here. We all remember stories that our grandparents told us, our parents told us, or even mythologicals, or our favorite movies. But if we asked, do you remember a business presentation you saw last week? We scratch our heads. That's because stories are the real hack into the human brain. We need to use more of them, and that's what Sachin Mandari does. He uses stories to tell valuable lessons. So Business and Leadership Stories basically is him recounting an important business story, and then at the end of it telling us the communication or business lesson that we can pick up from it. How are you, my friend? All well?
Very good, Rishi. Thanks a lot. While you were speaking, I realized that there needs to be one episode where I narrate at least a few of your stories and try to deconstruct communication tips that I've learned from you over the past 21 weeks.
That would be an entirely different series, my friend. But really, today's episode is special because it's slightly scandalous when you look at the title, How Two Broke Designers Built a 600 billion US dollar company.
60 billion.
60
which is
billion, I
still
beg your
a
pardon. 60
big
billion
amount.
US dollar company, which in itself is
I'd settle for 6
mighty.
billion.
Correct. And it all has to do with Brian Chesky and Airbnb. So let's start right there.
Right. Rishi, Brian Chesky was a designer. He studied from Rhodes School of Design, and he moved to San Francisco along with his friend Joe Gebbia, who was also from his school but working in the valley at that point in time. And he realized that the rent was $1,000 per month. It was really steep for someone. I mean, both of them were quite literally broke, and then they realized that a design conference has come to town, and a lot of designers were looking for a place to stay, and all the hotel rooms, at least the budget ones, were booked out. So they came up with an idea: why not put air beds in our living room and offer cereal for breakfast, and see if somebody wants to stay with us and see if we can make some extra buck.
Wow.
Now, Joe Gebbia actually had a few airbeds, and that's what they did. They put the airbeds, listed them up on Craigslist, and surprise, surprise, five people did come and stay with them. And an interesting trivia is the first person who booked or the first person who came to stay with them was a Mumbaiker who was studying in the US. I don't remember his name, but it's a Mumbaiker. So they made $1,000. Not just that, in fact, I think they made some extra bucks as well. And the most important thing, they realized that they had five friends. That's how the idea of Airbnb started: air, bed, and breakfast. Where how do you figure out uh, to book someone's home just like you book a hotel room? That's what Brian Chesky literally says when he's explaining the company to people.
That's wonderful. So basically, yeah, that's what they did. They put it up on Craigslist. Five people show up. They made rent for the month, made some guests, made some friends, and really they were broke designers in San Francisco. And at the time, the story is told, they could not make rent. Also, I think it helped a little bit, Sachin, because a design conference came into town. I always say there's a bit of luck also.
True, of course. Luck always plays. I think we in one of our previous episodes we spoke about Rajiv Bajaj talking about
Yeah.
how you have to be grateful for your situation. You know, you work hard, you work smart, all of that is fine, but you're always given some advantage by destiny.
A one line segue into the communication and business tip for the day that emanates from that story would just be this: that Airbnb still gives you the feeling of an underdog or a startup, doesn't it?
That's true.
You
That's
can
true.
never think of it as being valued at a 60 billion US dollar company.
Right, and you still feel that it's this company which is trying to fight the established Hyatts and the Hiltons and the Taj and the Oberois, whereas the fact is that if I'm not wrong, they are the highest valued hospitality brand on the face of the earth at this point in time.
Wow.
And I think it's a lot of it is credit to Brian Chesky because he understands the power of storytelling. He's a big time follower of Walt Disney. He's read his biographies and uses a lot of the techniques that Walt Disney used. And he says, I mean, he's not literally said this, but you can get this from his interviews that the origin story is something that he keeps narrating every time he's asked what is Airbnb. So he does not go into this information oriented tech kind of explanation that we are a tech platform which connects travelers with hosts. He will first say that we were broke designers in San Francisco who could not make rent. Then a design conference came to town, airbeds, blah, blah, blah. And that's why we are building Airbnb on trust. And suddenly you see that you feel for this company, right? You feel, oh my God, these guys are two punks in a garage trying to make a dent in the world. I'm going to go ahead and support them. Whereas now they are having a cool $60 billion. What do we have? So the origin story of the company, that's the communication tip, Rishi. You need to spot, structure, and narrate your origin story so that you're able to take people back in time and also use it as a marketing asset to attract your audiences, whether it's investors, customers, or even good folks like you and me.
Thank you for the nice underhanded compliment there. Sachin Bhandari puts out the Win with Stories newsletter. It is absolutely stellar. And I highly advocate that if you're an HR professional listening to this, or the CEO of a company, or any level of management, go and tell your HR about it. Your company needs Sachin Bhandari. He will come in and take sessions for you guys and make it all worthwhile. Where can one reach you, Sachin?
Rishi, yes, it's simple. Go to LinkedIn, look for Sachin Bhandari. Sachin is easy. Bhandari is Bhandary. And on my profile, there's a link which says get in touch or stay in touch. Click that. You can either subscribe to the newsletter and you can also, book a Zoom call with me if somebody wants to have a chat about workshops or training programs. Yes.
I'm going to see you back next week. Cheers.
Look forward to it, Rishi. Thank you.
94.3 Radio 1.